Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today you got it right. We're looking at the Rike M2. This is a new one from Rike. I've had it since Blade Show. Well, kind of since Blade Show. My brother has had it for a while, and I've had it for a while. And most importantly, we put this guy to use. So let's dig in and see what you get. We've got a handle length of 5.1 inches, a little over that, a little over a ½ inch thick. Closed spine to spine height of about just under 1.4. And guys, an open overall length, let's see if we can get this all on the camera there, of 8.97, just under 9 inches. We've got a blade length of 3.9 and an edge length of 3.8. Now, our grip length is 4.3, so nice long grip length. And a weight of 5.27, so not too bad for a big knife. One thing that, don't run away after I say this. We're going to talk about it a little bit later on. And it's not as bad as what you think. But this is 5mm blade stock, .197. So big, thick, hefty, long blade. And let's get a look at what we've got here. Rike always does this insane amount of milling on the handles, and they've done that here. We've got a bit of a lanyard hole down here. We've got all kinds of little bits of stylizing. David Wu done a heck of a job designing this thing. It is not an integral, however it is built very similarly to an integral, and it's just like with all the Rike knives, or almost all of them anyhow, it is a marvel of machining and just well thought out all around. I like how they do their pivot. This one's a little dirty. I need to clean that up, but they do a good job there. Very simple, just with a T8 here. And I have not checked, but I'm assuming we're using standard stainless screws. We'll pull one out and see. Alright, we got a T8 in there. Hopefully that's the right one. Is that a T8? Yes, that's a T8. So, there's a T6. I guess those are T6. That's not good. They are kind of deep, though. So if you got good drivers, it isn't going to be an awful thing. And, you know, the whole thing is the better the screws are, the better off. So let's say, no, these are titanium, friends and neighbors. So titanium hardware in the knife. And, you know, this is specially made hardware for these knives. And it's just a beautiful thing. I like it a lot. I like this knife a lot. And I know, you guys are all going back to that big old thick blade stock. We'll get there, I promise you. The other thing that Rike does on some of their knives that some people may or may not like is they have this. This right here is a slide that locks the knife. Some people may love that, some people may hate that. The cool thing about the way Rike does it is it doesn't matter. It's there, but it doesn't get in the way. I have used this knife for the past several weeks, and that little slide lock right there just does not get in the way. Alright, so I'm going to give you a slide through of the knife, and then we'll move along, and I'll try to be quiet so you can see it. Alright, so that's your slide through, and I know quiet so you can see it, but hey, it's been proven that the quieter you are, the better you can see. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyhow, let's do a little bit of size comparison. I'm going to back the camera out just a little bit here. Oh, too far. There we go. And we've got some knives. We'll do our standards first. We'll get the magnet out of the way. There's our Rat Model 1 and our Spyderco Delica. So even though it is a big knife, it's not that big. And it carries rather well. What else do we have here? Well, there is a Liangma Endeavor right in the same size class with this knife. This is a little thicker than the Endeavor, and if I don't remember whether it weighs more or not, there is a Wee Knife Company Chimera, however you want to say it, and a Ferox. One more I want to get in, two more I want to get in, just for comparison's sake. And that is our 0393, and this is an SMF. It is not a SNG like most people own. The SMF is the big one. So there you go. What is one last thing that we can measure this guy up against? What do you think, guys? We need to have a common thing, you know, a US quarter or something, but something I can keep on my desk that isn't going to fly away. So, you know, I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this, and there just doesn't seem to be much of anything. So, and not that there isn't a lot of stuff to compare to, but there's just not a lot of stuff that's going to stay on my desk like it should. So, here's what we're going to do. I am going to put up against the knife a standard size and length Torx bit. Now this could be a Phillips bit, anything. Just something for you to get a little bit of scale off of. And if I don't do this in the future, try to remember to tell me that I'm supposed to be doing it. There it is in the Scout Leather Company driver, and on we go. Let's look at this blade. And this blade is dirty. I did that on purpose because I want you to know I've been using this guy. Now that we've looked at it just real quickly, we'll talk about it while I'm cleaning it off. It is S35VN, and it is a nearly full flat grind. And not only is it a nearly full flat grind, they have done, well, they pulled a Wii is what they've done. And in this case, it works out rather magnificently. And what does old Zell mean by they pulled a Wii? Well, look at the finish they put on this blade. Look familiar? Well, it should. This is what we would tell you as a hand rub finish. And honestly, whenever we does it, it is a hand rubbed finish. I have seen the video of the people over there hand rubbing these finishes. But what they're doing before they hand rub the finish, they are giving it a very light media blast with something very fine or very soft. I'm not sure exactly what the material is. I need to do some experimentation and see if I can figure it out. But what it gives you is a very slick blade surface. So after I sharpened this guy up, we end up with something that is different from what you would expect out of 5mm blade stock. Now granted, that has been sharpened, I believe it was on the Wicked Edge. May have been on the KME, I don't remember. It was on the Wicked Edge because I did it down in Houston, so it was a Wicked Edge sharpen. But either way, both sharpening systems get you this type of edge. And if I remember right, it was at like 17 degrees, so it was pretty thin behind the edge. We'll grab the calipers and just see. Not that it is going to give us a proper reading now. And why do I say it won't give us a proper reading? Well, I have sharpened it, and it's a flat ground knife. So every time you sharpen a flat ground knife, you end up with a wider bevel. So, you know, that's what I'm getting right now. So it started out at 20 thousandths or less. I've given it a pretty thorough sharpening all the way down to a mirror. So, you know, there you go. It's really thin behind the edge. It cuts extremely well. And I just love how they've come off all this design across the back of the knife that flows and works well right down through here. to this elongated blade hole and then this fuller that comes off of it. Just gorgeous. And whenever it works out like that and keeps the knife looking really sexy and doesn't mess with the cutting performance, it's always a beautiful thing. Now we should look up here. We've got some jimping and we are swedged a slight bit back here. Makes for a very nice look. We've got quasi jimping across the top here with this tractor tread looking stuff. And guys, it's just, well, I'm kind of smitten by the knife. We'll see what you guys think down in the comments. Let's throw it in the pocket and see what happens there. And right down in the pocket, it's got a Todd Begg style ball right here, and we'll look at that closer in just a second. It leaves your lanyard hole up just a little bit of the knife sticking out, but it's a long enough knife. It's not something that's going to get twisted funny and fall out of your pocket. So in pocket feel is also very good because your hand runs down through here and misses the flipper tab, even though it does have a big old flipper tab. But we're going to talk about why here as we get into ergonomics. And that is, get a look at that. What do you think I'm going to say about that? Well, yeah, you're right. Simple ergonomics make for good handle design. How many times have I said that now? And this is a knife that you can get a hold of any way that you want to. Get into your pinch grips, that blade hole and bit of a fuller. Make things really nice. You can get it up here. You can get your thumb way down there. Just about anything you want to do. And while we've got it up here, let's look at this right here. People have wondered if that's over the hole. It is not. It pops up right there on the edge, and somehow magically it just works without any issue. I have an M1 and an M2, and both of them I believe are about the same right there. And both of them, the pocket clips, are one of the best features of the knives. This pocket clip fits in just about any pants I've stuck it in. I can't think of a pair that it hasn't. So there you go. It's they did a great job. This was one of the knives that I had seen that I wanted to get a hold of at Blade Show. Even though I knew that there were probably going to be some issues with it, I really liked the look of the knife. And Seth went ahead and got a hold of the M1. And that's a knife of a whole different ball of wax that we will talk about sometime soon. But this one, guys, in my opinion, is a very good knife. Now, to wrap it all up and talk about what Zell would have done different. Well, there's not a lot Zell would have done different. I probably would have taken a millimeter off the blade stock. Is it necessary? Obviously not, because this thing is a cardboard destroyer. But it's always nice to have that slightly thinner blade stock so that as you use and sharpen the knife, you keep a fairly narrow bevel. But that's about the only thing I think I would have changed. For myself, I don't need or want this lock deal, but I understand that some of you will. And overall, they just did a great job of designing this knife. It is up for pre-order, and I don't usually do this, but and by the way, this is in no way sponsored by Rike, but I will find the store that Rike sells their knives off of here in the United States and link it down in the description. I'm going to start doing that more often. I have it in the past because, well, I'm not sponsored by anybody. You guys know that I have affiliation with some of the knife companies, and yeah, there is some amount of assistance for the channel through those outlets. However, the deals with all of those is if I do any reviews on their knives, the reviews are my own, and they have to suck it up if I cut their knife to shreds. And they've all been agreeable to that, and just understand that if I cut their knife to shreds, they're just going to have to learn from it and go on. So that's why I haven't ever really put any of those links that everybody likes to put down in there, but I think I'm going to start because you guys need to know where to be able to get a hold of this stuff. especially something like this that's on pre-order right now, and you can't just go to Blade HQ and pick it up. So anyhow, guys, the Rike M2. It gets Zell seal of approval. I have carried it a lot. I like it a lot. I know it's got thick blade stock, and that's okay. The details of the knife are, and the way they finish the blade make it just fine. I mean, look at all these little details that make this thing just a beautiful, beautiful knife. It's one I'm going to have around here for probably a long time. Probably a lot like my SMF or my 452, excuse me, or, you know, my Liang Ma knives. And at $200 right now, if you can get in on that pre-order, I think you're getting a steal. Anyhow, guys, you all have a great day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Catch us right here on the Zelrick YouTube channel for the Apex news just about every week, sometime in the middle of the week. And have a great day, and I will see you next time.